In this video, we're going to estimate the area and perimeter of rectangles and triangles by rounding each number to the nearest integer. Please do these two questions, pause the video while you do them, press play once you're ready. You should have now done these two questions. Let's go through them together. So the first question, to find the area of the rectangle, we do the length times the width, 9 times 4, which is 36, and the units for area are centimetres squared, 36 centimetres squared. For the perimeter, we add the length and the width together, 9 plus 4 is 13 centimetres, and then we times that by 2 to make 26 centimetres. Why do we times it by 2? Well, there's also this 9 centimetres and this 4 centimetres. So we've got two lots of 9 plus 4. We've got that 9 and 4, and then we've got this 9 and 4. For question 2, find the area and perimeter of this triangle. So for the area, we do the base times height divided by 2. So the area will be the base times the height divided by 2. So this is the base, this is the height. That will be 48 over 2, which is 24 centimetres squared. And for the perimeter, well, perimeter is what? Say your answer to the video. Perimeter is, you should have said perimeter is the distance around a 2D shape. So for this 2D shape, it's 12 plus 9 plus 5, which will be 26 centimetres. Now, I also want you to be able to round to the nearest integer. So could you please round the following numbers to the nearest integer? 6.09, 9.94, and 86.61. Pause the video while you round each of those numbers to the nearest integer. Press play once you're ready. You should have now rounded those three numbers to the nearest integer. For A, you should have got 6. For B, you should have got 10. And for C, you should have got 87. Just to remind you the method, so let's take 6.09, for example. So if we want to round to the nearest integer, we're rounding to the nearest integer, so we underline the next digit and have a look at it. Is that next digit between 0 and 4, or is it between 5 and 9? Well, it's between 0 and 4, so the number that I've circled stays the same, so that will be 6. But let's have a look at this example, 9.94. So doing the same thing, we're trying to round it to the nearest integer, so we circle the integer and underline the next digit. Is the next digit between 0 and 4, or is it between 5 and 9? Well, it's between 5 and 9, which means this number rounds up to become 10. So therefore, the answer is 10. So I'm going to do this example. Pause the video to read this question. Press play once you've read it. So to do this question, the first thing I'm going to do is round every number to the nearest integer. So what is 7.6 to the nearest integer? Say your answer to the video now. Well, you should have said that the nearest integer to 7.6 is 8. And that's because if you circle the integer and underline the next digit, is that next digit between 0 and 4, or is it between 5 and 9? Say your answer to the video. You should have said it's between 5 and 9. So what happens to the number that I've circled? Say your answer to the video. You should have said that the number that I've circled goes up by 1, which is why it becomes 8. Let's do the same thing to the number 3.4. What do you think 3.4 is to the nearest integer? Say your answer to the video now. You should have said 3, and that's because if you circle the integer and underline the next digit, this digit is between what and what? Say your answer to the video now. That underlined number is between 0 and 4. So what happens to the 3? Say your answer to the video. You should have said not that the 3 rounds down, but the 3 stays the same. The 3 stays the same. So that's why the answer is 3. Well, now that I've done that, I'm just going to replace each of these with the rounded value. So 7.6 is 7 and 3.4 is 3. And then those are the values I use to find the area and the perimeter. So the area will be 3 times 7. It's a rectangle, length times width, which is 21 meters squared, because I'm told all units are in meters. And for the perimeter, perimeter is, you should have said perimeter is the distance around a 2D shape. So I do 7 plus 3 times 2. So I do 7 plus 3, whatever that is, and then I times that by 2. So that will be 10 times 2, which is 20 meters. So just to summarize what I did all together, I firstly rounded each number to the nearest integer. Then I used those rounded numbers to find the area and the perimeter of the rectangle in the normal way. Let's do this example together. Pause the video, have a go at the question, press play once you're ready. You should have now had a go at this question. So what should we do first? Say your answer to the video. The first thing we should do is round each number to the nearest unit. So what is 4.035 to the nearest integer? Say your answer to the video now. You should have said 4. And what is 4.5 to the nearest integer? Say your answer to the video now. You should have said 5. Okay, what do we do next? Say your answer to the video. So next, I'm going to replace each of these lengths in the rectangle with these new rounded values. So this side over here is what? Say your answer to the video. You should have said 4. What's this side over here on the other side? Say your answer to the video. Also 4. What's this length over here rounded to the nearest integer? Say your answer to the video now. You should have said 5. And what's this length over here? Say your answer to the video now. You should have said 5. Therefore, the area will be what? Say your answer to the video now. You should have said 4 times 5, which is 20. What are the units for area here? Say your answer to the video. Well, here, the units of area will be millimeters squared because it says all lengths are in millimeters. So if we have an area where all the lengths are in millimeters, the area is in millimeters squared. And how are we going to work out the perimeter? Perimeter is the distance around a 2D shape. So we're going to do 2 lots of 5 plus 4. So 2 lots of 5 plus 4. So 2 lots of 5 plus 4 will be 18 millimeters. So it's 2 lots of 9. And those are our answers. Now let's do this example with a triangle instead. So I'm going to do this one fully myself. So pause the video to read the question, press play once you've read it. You should have now read this question. So the first step is exactly the same as the examples with the rectangles. The first step is just to round each number to the nearest integer. So please pause the video and round each number to the nearest integer. Press play once you're ready. You should have now rounded every number to the nearest integer. So 3.84 becomes 4. Because I do this, 8 is between 5 and 9, so the 3 rounds up to a 4. 4.5, so the digit after the integer is a 5, so that's between 5 and 9, so the 4 will round up to a 5. 3.75, so circle the integer, underline the next digit. 7 is between 5 and 9, so the 3 will round up to a 4. And finally, 7.2, underline the integer, circle the integer, underline the next digit. The next digit is between 0 and 4, so the 7 stays the same. Now that I have the rounded values, I'm going to replace each of these with the nearest integer. And then now that I've done that, I can now do the area and the perimeter of a triangle in the normal way. So the formula for the area of a triangle is base times height over 2. So the base here is 4, that's the base. The height is also 4, that's the height, over 2. That's 16 over 2, which is 8. Because all units are in centimeters, area will be centimeters squared. And for the perimeter, perimeter is the distance around a 2D shape. So I just add 3 sides together. 1, 2, 3. Those 3 sides are 4 plus 5 plus 7, which is 16 centimeters. You can watch that example again, and once you've done so, we can move on to do an example together. We're going to do this example together now. Pause the video to read and do the question. Press play once you're ready. You should have now had a go at this question, so let's do it together now. So firstly, what's the first step? Say your answer to the video. You should have said that the first step is to round every number to the nearest integer. If you've not yet done that, please do it now. Pause the video to round every number to the nearest integer. Press play once you're ready. You should have now rounded every number to the nearest integer. So 4.5 becomes 5, 4.09 stays as 4, 4.5 becomes 5, and 3.75 becomes 4. What's the next step? Say your answer to the video. You should have said that I replace each number with the rounded value. And now, what's the next step? Say your answer to the video. You should have said that we now work out the area and perimeter in the normal way. What's the formula for the area of a triangle? Say your answer to the video now. You should have said base times height over 2. What's the base of this triangle? Say your answer now. The base of this triangle is 4. What's the height of this triangle? Say your answer to the video now. The height of this triangle is 4. So we do 4 times 4 over 2. What is 4 times 4 over 2? Say your answer to the video now. Well, 4 times 4, also known as 4 squared, is 16. 16 over 2 is 8. What will the units be for the area here? Say your answer to the video. Well, the question says that all the lengths are in meters, so area will be in meters squared. Let's do the perimeter now. Perimeter is, you should have said perimeter is the distance around a 2D shape. So for this shape, we have this plus this plus this. Add that together and say to the video what the perimeter is. So the perimeter here is 14. What will the units be for perimeter? Say your answer to the video. The units for perimeter is meters because perimeter is a length. Please do these 4 questions independently. Pause the video while you do that. Press play once you're ready. You should have now done these 4 questions. Please mark your work while I go through the answers. So for the first question, the 6.35 becomes 6 and the 1.6 becomes 2. So the area is 6 times 2, which is 12 centimeters squared. And the perimeter, so I'm going to firstly do 6 times 2, which is, sorry, not 6 times 2. I'm going to firstly do 6 plus 2, which is 8. And then I'm going to do 8 times 2, which is 16 centimeters, because there's 2 lots of 6 and 2. So we have a 6 and a 2, which makes 8. And then we have another 6 and another 2. That's another 8. 8 plus 8 is 16. Let's go through the next one. So the 2.35 becomes 2. So both of these sides are 2. The 1.35 becomes 1. So both of these sides are 1. So my area will be 1 times 2, which is 2 centimeters squared. My perimeter, I'm just going to write that as P. So we have 1 and 2, which makes 3. And we have another 1 and 2, that's another 3. So we're going to do 3 times 2, which is 6 centimeters. Just going to underline the answers so you can see them clearly. Next, we have a triangle, but the first step is to round each number to the nearest integer. So 4.35 becomes 4, 6.5 becomes 7, 6.5 becomes 7, and 6 just stays as 6. So the area will be base times height over 2, which will be here, the base is 4 and the height is 6. So that will be 4 times 6 over 2. 4 times 6 is 24, so 24 over 2, which is 12 centimeters squared. And for the perimeter, you should have done the area around a 2D shape. So the perimeter here is that plus that plus that, which will be 7 plus 4, which is 18 centimeters. Finally, the last example. So we firstly round each number to the nearest integer. So 9.05 becomes 9, 7.93 becomes 8, 8.5 becomes 9, and 7.8 becomes 8. So we start to work out the area as base times height over 2. base here is 8 and the height is also 8. So 8 times 8 over 2. 8 times 8, 8 squared, that's 64. 64 over 2, so that will be 32 centimeters squared. And finally, the perimeter is the distance around a 2D shape. So it's that plus that plus that, which will be 8 plus 9 plus 9, which will be 26 centimeters. I hope this video was useful. Please like and subscribe to get more videos on Key Stage 3 Maths.